Hi there, welcome back to the Owl Adventures channel and welcome to this week's Owl Diary. So this is what happens when you get your eagle owl out and you think, I just want to sunbathe, thanks. Hi there, Ryan here from Owl Adventures. Another day and another venue. It's the first time I've been here. It's a lovely little hotel just near Pateley Bridge in North Yorkshire, and I've done a little event, a little flying experience for a small group of the residents here in this little part of the gardens. So I was talking about Ollie the eagle owl. They had a go at holding Pebble the burrowing owl, which of course flew one of the Harris hawks. It was Roland's turn today. You did a really good job swooping back and forth around the trees here. And I also flew Bailey the barn owl, did a few flights from the trees down to the hand and a few bits from one hand to the other as well. He then went up to one of the trees up here, about 20 feet high, not too unusual for Bailey, he often does that. But then some blackbirds spooked him. The blackbirds thought that perhaps that bird of prey in the tree there was going to attack their young. It's something very common this time of the year. So they chased him off, they flew at him and it spooked him and he went to the trees just over here. We left him a little while. I couldn't then actually see him, so we used the transmitter that's attached to his leg, and on the map we could see he'd flown right over a mini valley, over a pond to another tree line, and we found him then up a tree much lower down using the transmitter beeping to the satellite. It then took me about 10 minutes to coax him down, and in the end I had to use a full chick, the full body, because it looked nice and appetizing. Now at the beginning he was flying to my hand really quickly, but of course he'd been spooked by that blackbird. He didn't know the blackbird was just trying to scare him off. He thought maybe it was trying to steal his food or even attack him, so he's been very cautious and very wary. But he's back now and he's in his box eating his food, and tomorrow he'll be absolutely right as rain and we'll fly him free again. But I'm pleased to say that transmitter's worked. We've been flying our barn owls and other birds of prey with that transmitter now for I think over 4 years, and this is the first day we've had to track one of the owls with the transmitter. So first time for everything, there we go. Anyway, keep watching, lots more to show you in the rest of this week's Owl Diary. Well, I do hope you're enjoying this week's Owl Diary so far, and now for something a little bit different. This is at home and it's a butterfly net. Essentially it came with a little pot there with some caterpillars. 5 they eat just like the hungry caterpillar would, and then they go into their pupae. We watch them form into butterflies. So we've got 3 now that have appeared, and of course as you can see they're feeding on some fruit, some sugar water, and pretty soon they'll be released into the wild. Oh, I just love that clip of Henrietta taking a bath. Now, all animals around the world need water to survive, that's a known fact. But most people don't realise that birds of prey drink surprisingly little water. This is because they get most of the fluid they require from the animal they eat. I mean, think about owls, they actually swallow their food whole. So one mouse will be full of blood, and that's where they get their water from, essentially, the most. It's called water metabolism. Now, some of my birds of prey almost never go into their water. They always have some water available, but as far as baths are concerned, that's done on an intermittent basis. Because if we give them water to bathe in constantly, they're more likely to not touch it. However, if we take it away for a day or two and then return that bath and fill it up, then sometimes get excited by it and think, yes, I'm going to jump in and have a splash about, a bit like Henrietta did there. Because Henry isn't necessarily the sort of bird that will have a bath every day, unlike, say, my Harris hawks, who often jump in their water. But that's because they are essentially desert birds. Even though they've both hatched in the UK, their instinct is that water is a rare thing. When it rains, they often pop their wings out and try and gather up some of that rain, as does the burrowing owl and any other desert species. So water, it is very important, and it's best to give the birds a little drinking receptacle that they can go to if they need to, but it isn't odd to see them not drink very often at all. So we've had an interesting week, really quite busy. We've had a couple of rescue jobs. One was an interesting one. It was a kestrel that was somewhat trapped inside a building. At least when the doors were opened, it wasn't actually leaving, and I was called just to take a quick look and see if it looked okay. And as you can probably see from this footage, it's flying around really nicely. It's perfectly healthy. I think it was just a bit nervous of going down towards the door when there were people around. I said, leave the doors wide open, and by the end of the day, it should be gone. Call me back if it hasn't. And of course, they didn't ring me back, so I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. The irony is, the kestrel flew into what used to be, until recently, a bird of prey centre. And that's the indoor part of the centre I used to work at Lightwater Valley. So we've got a very exciting summer coming up, flying shows coming up. We're really looking forward to it. So I'm going to say cheerio for now, and thanks for watching.